So, hey, Kate, we're going live. Who do you want to do a shout out to?
I want to do a shout out to all the healers and yoga teachers out there in the world.
Oh, okay, healers and yoga teachers and everybody that Kate knows. Here we go. Hey guys, as always, we've got an amazing guest on here. We're going to talk with Kate Gardner today. She is a dog loving yoga teacher living in Ibiza. And she's super
Hey,
passionate about, sharing everything about essential oils, and we're going to learn all about that today. So, what's up, Kate? How are you?
hey, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to learn about oils. I need some oils all over my hands and face and body and smelling and all that kind of stuff. So when we talk about essential oils, what are essential oils as opposed to just like oils?
Essential oils basically come from the plants. So, they come from either the rind of the fruit, so maybe the lemon, they come from the flower, the bud, the bark, the root of the plant. And they're like the plant's life force. So they're what the plants use to protect themselves from bacteria, from viruses, from threats, from any kind of threat. They're what the plant creates. So we actually take those beautiful little compounds and we take those and use them to support ourselves in
Okay,
many
how do you
different
get the oil
ways.
out of the plant then? How does it?
So it depends. There are different ways of getting the oil. So, for example, if we were taking the oil out of a lemon, then we would get it. It's called steam, just cold pressed. So we would cold press it out of the rind. But if we were
Okay,
getting the oil out of a flower, so for example, if we were taking rose oil, rose is one of the most precious oils and it's the highest vibrating essential oil on the planet. So, rose oil, pure rose oil is much more expensive than other oils because it takes hundreds and hundreds of rose petals to
uh-huh,
make a tiny bit of essential oil. So because that process is so detailed, then that would mean that the crop yields more, so it's a lot more expensive. Whereas an
gotcha.
oil like lemon or orange tend to be much more easy to cold press. And we also would take from the bark of the tree or the root of the tree as well.
Gotcha. So when you take bark from a tree, I mean, like, I'm assuming not all trees have oil, or am I wrong about that?
Well, yeah, most trees do have oil. There's different ways in which we get those oils out, and sometimes what can happen as well is lots of waste products. So the company that I work with, there might be like chips of some wood that comes off that would normally be thrown away, and they'll use that and create an oil out of that so that it's very sustainable. So they can
Ah,
create an oil out of everything.
so what do you do with the essential oils now? What's the main purpose of an essential oil?
So, essential oils can be used for so many different things. So, as soon as we smell an essential oil like this, which I'm
Mhm.
going to do now with some peppermint, smell it. As soon as we smell an essential oil, it goes into the nose and
Yes.
into what we call the olfactory system. And then, because the little compounds are tiny, 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 they go into the brain and can pass through the blood brain barrier because they're so tiny. So they
Right.
can affect like everything in our brain. So, in terms of, hormones are connected in our brain, our balance, our breathing, almost everything that we do is connected in some way to the brain, blinking the eye, digestion. So, essential oils, when they go into the brain, they can have an activation on these different areas of the brain and affect our body. So they can affect our emotions because in our brain, in the limbic area of the brain, it's where we store our emotions. So if you're feeling a little bit or hot, as I am
Uh-huh.
today, and you smell an essential oil, then it can go in and it can have like a cooling effect and just make you feel a little bit calmer. If you're talking publicly, then they can help you. So an essential oil can help you feel more energy. They can help you if you're feeling a little bit down. Another oil like lemon. I love lemon. I put it in my diffuser in my room in the morning, and you smell lemon, and it just just takes you to a sunny beach. It's just
Now,
so good.
are the oils to be smelled, or do you put them on the skin, or do you eat them, or what is what you're smelling them? And that's the this is the first time I've ever seen someone that's like, oh, you smell them. What do you
Yeah.
do
So
with
there are
them?
three ways that we use essential oils. So the
Okay.
first way that most people are familiar with is called aromatic use of essential oil. So that's opening up a bottle of oil and smelling it like this. And
Uh-huh.
just by doing that, that's having an effect on your brain and will affect all of the cells in your body quite quickly because oils are what we call fat soluble. So they can penetrate the cell membrane. They're super powerful. So
Uh-huh.
just smelling an oil like that within minutes will have an effect on all of your body. So that's called topical, that's called aromatic use. And you can also put them in a little cold diffuser. Like, do you remember we used to have those little candle ones that you light and you put
Yes.
candles under? Well,
Yes.
they're not really so good. If you're using good quality therapeutic grade oils, you don't really want to be heating them. You want to use a cold one that you put cold water in and plug it in. And that's quite nice, like if you're in a studio or something and you want a nice smell. So that is also called aromatic use of essential oils. So the first way, aromatic, when we smell them.
Okay.
The second way that we use essential oils is to use them on the skin, and we call this the topical use of essential oils. So as soon as I open this oil and I
Yes.
put this oil on my skin, because they're such tiny little compounds, some of that oil is going to disappear into the atmosphere. And we don't want that to happen because if you're using a lovely expensive oil, you want to make sure that that all goes into your skin and to make sure that we're safely using them as well. So we want to use a heavier oil, an oily oil, because
Oh,
essential oils are not actually oily. So when you put an essential oil on your skin, if it's a pure oil, it shouldn't be slippy and oily. It
really?
should be, no. If you're buying like a cheap essential oil, then it may feel like that because it may have been blended. But a pure essential oil is not oily. But what we want to do is mix it with a heavier oil, and that makes sure that 100% of that oil goes into our skin. So a carrier oil could be something like almond oil, coconut oil, olive oil, jojoba
Hmm.
oil. All of these oils, because they're thicker, they draw the oil into the skin. So you might want to use essential oils on your skin to make you smell good after the shower. You might want to use them because you've got like wrinkles on your face, or you may just want to use them on your skin because you want to smell nice. Because as you get warm, the lovely smell of essential oils comes off. And you always want to do that with a carrier oil. And the other way that you can use them topically, which is really interesting, is you can use them on your feet.
Really? Now, on the feet, is that different than putting them on the face, the hands, the anywhere else on the body? What's the difference?
Yeah, so the pores on the feet are
Bottom or top?
larger, the bottom. So
Okay.
the skin is tougher and the pores are bigger. So if we're using essential oils on children, we always want to make sure that we're diluting with the right dilution for the age of the child, because it depends if the child's 3 or the child's 10. You always want to make sure you look up what their dilution should be. And then we mix with a carrier oil and then we massage onto the feet. And if
Uh,
anybody's sensitive to oils, like some people, you know, they love lavender, but some people just don't like oils. They don't like lavender. They don't want oils on their skin. I have experienced people like that. And then they just can massage them on their feet so that they're getting the effect of an oil, but they're not necessarily having it all over their skin. And they go in very quickly. So when you're walking on your floor with bare feet, or your pets are walking on the floor with bare feet, and you're using chemicals in your home, your
yes.
feet are going to absorb those chemicals very quickly. So it's important that we're using, you know, I clean with essential oils. I use essential oils on my floor for my little dogs to pad around on. So it's, yeah, that's how we use them topically. And the third way that we use essential oils, and not all essential oils, you have to make sure that the essential oils that you're taking can be taken internally, because many can't. They have to have supplement facts on the bottle, and they have to be a very high grade essential oil, what we call like a therapeutic grade. And always do your research. Some essential oils can be taken internally in very small amounts,
Hmm.
some just can't. So you have to make sure you do your research. I don't take a lot of oils internally. Some people do. All I do is I put some lemon in my water in the morning. And sometimes I'll use like grapefruit. We spoke about grapefruit. I love grapefruit. It's a good one
Uh-huh.
for, it's a good one to help with weight. If you're
So,
eating too much, grapefruit and peppermint are good oils.
gotcha. 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 Well, so I've heard of the grapefruit diet, right? Now, is
Mhm.
that because you're eating the rind or those oils in that you're getting, or most of the time people are just eating the fruits with that, right? So,
Yeah, so I think I know with the essential oils, so the essential oils have emotional properties. So they've got like their own little characters. So grapefruit is the oil of honoring your body. So if somebody had issues with food, like maybe if they weren't eating enough or they were overeating, then grapefruit is an oil that can help on either side of the scale. It can help you. So just by, again, smelling it, it's really good. You can just smell it and it can just help with the metabolism. So grapefruit as a fruit and also from the rind can help to support metabolism. Other oils that are also really good to help. One oil is an oil called cinnamon. And the poor man's cinnamon, so the slightly cheaper version is cassia. So cassia, Cassia, or cinnamon, are amazing oils if you crave sweet things. And there have been quite a lot of studies done on these oils to show that they can help regulate blood sugar. So if suddenly you get a bit hangry and you're like, oh my God, I'm really craving sugar, I need a Snickers now, you can just reach for the oil. Just sniffing it can help your blood sugar. And
I'm
peppermint is also another one that when you sniff it, it takes away that desire to eat chocolate or bread.
That's so funny. My friend Clarence, who's watching right now, I'm gonna have to remind him to make me get some cassia. How do you spell that?
Cassia.
Cassia
So,
oil?
or cinnamon. So cinnamon is slightly more expensive normally than cassia. And cassia is they're really hot oils. So with the hot oils, so cinnamon, clove, ginger, you really have to be careful that you dilute. And especially if you touch yourself in certain places after you've used that oil, you will know about it because you'll be like,
I'll
Mamma
try that.
mia, it's
I will try not to
so
touch
hot.
myself in certain places.
Cassia, or if you touch your eyes after you've touched it, you'll be like, ah. And if that ever happens with an oil and you get it in your eyes, all
Mhm.
you do is you take a carrier oil, any oil, even butter, and you just put it onto the eyes like this, just here, and it dilutes it. Never water. You never put water anywhere. And even if you get cassia on your face, it's very, very spicy.
Oh wow. Okay. So is it to for all the people that want to lose weight? I'm basically talking for myself. Um, so do you want to smell it, or what do you want to do with cassia if you want to lose weight?
So just if for sugar cravings, it just gets rid of the sugar cravings. So one
Yeah.
thing you can do is just smell it. The other thing is you can put a little bit on your hand here, but it is a spicy one, so your lips may tingle, but you can put a little bit on your hand and just go like that when you're craving.
Uh-huh.
And it is really, and the other thing, it's like cinnamon, the powder is really good. Like in the morning, if you're having oatmeal, and you add a little bit of cinnamon, even if you add cinnamon in your water, cinnamon is amazing. But the essential oils are very, very potent. So essential oils are like 60 to 70 times stronger than herbs. So one drop of peppermint oil is the equivalent of about 28 cups of peppermint tea. So they're very
Wow.
powerful. You only need a very, very small amount. You don't need much.
Okay. I'm on it. I'm gonna be right there. I'm gonna be a testimonial for you for sweet cravings or killing sweet cravings. How about that?
Yeah. Or you can put it in your water as well. There are lots of different ways. I like to use the oils in my food. So I like to make oatmeal. I like to put them in my smoothies. Lemon oil, grapefruit makes a green smoothie taste a hell of a lot better.
Yes, yes, that's hard to do. I was doing green ones for a while.
Yeah.
So, so I know you teach also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You teach yoga and you teach
Mm-hmm.
about these oils. Um, what are you teaching about the oils? Are you teaching people how to make them, or what are you teaching them?
So we are just educating people on this way of life, really. So giving people different options. So, sometimes people, they will, like my family, if they get a sore head, they go straight for the
Like,
Tylenol. Whereas for me, I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll drink some water. Oh, maybe I'll use some peppermint on my temples. And then maybe after that, I might go for the Tylenol. But it's like teaching people that they can have different options. And some people, they have skin issues, they're working with sleep, they are working with very stressful feelings, and they need oils to be able to soothe them, to comfort them, to help them with sleep. And we help them know different blends, different oils, and how to use safely. And really, we just talk about this oily way of life.
Not a slippery way of life, just an oily way of life. That's
An
awesome.
oily, the
And then,
oily way of living. And they just, for me, they just really changed my life in so many ways. I suffered for many, many years with severe hormone imbalances and excruciating undiagnosed endometriosis and problems. And I used to have to take so many painkillers that I used
yeah,
to feel a little bit high every month. And then I was introduced to the oils, and every month I used them over a period of 3 months, and they made a massive difference to my life and to my health and to my wellness. And that's why I use them and educate people on how to support their wellness. Because if you're going to eat McDonald's every day and have a really unhealthy life, then they're not gonna work. It's everything. You have to just change everything. Your diet, your exercise, your lifestyle, and the essential oils like yoga
yeah.
support. And they work really well with yoga. So I teach a class here. I teach a hatha and aromatherapy class in a beautiful hotel where I live in Ibiza. And I love it because I get to use like four or five blends with the women, and the women leave my class and they're like, they just love it. They're all like high. I've even got a dog that comes to the class and he's like high as well.
Yeah,
And it's so nice. It's so nice because before I always try and use them in my yoga classes, and now I teach a specific, aromatherapy and hatha class, and the women love it.
and the
They
dog
love,
loves it.
and the dog loves it as well. Yeah, and it's just nice. It's just a different way of, in yoga we say that when people are practicing yoga, they're like peeling back the layers of the onion. And with essential oils, they're what our ancestors have used, for thousands of years. They're not new, they're not woo-woo, they're not hippie. They have been around for thousands of years. So we're just connecting into that ancestral healing of thinking, what do I need today? Maybe it's grapefruit, maybe it's lemon, and just
Yeah,
feeling into that and then using that oil when we always know what we need.
gotcha. And can people actually buy the oils from you, or do you have a way for people to get the oils and know what the good ones are? How do we do that?
Yeah, so the way that we work is that I'm probably the most active on Instagram. So my Instagram is Yoga Love Oils. So if anybody's interested in learning more, or anyone's working with a specific condition, I kind of specialize in hormones. That's kind of where I'm kind of specializing in, because that's my journey. But if anyone wants to know more about oils, they can reach out to me, follow
Right.
me. On my Instagram, I have like a little link tree, one of these link tree things, and they
Yep.
can click on there and watch like a video of me presenting the oils, and all of the information is on there. But really with this work, it's, they're powerful plant medicine. So, you wouldn't just go and buy these off the shelf and use them, or, be using them on your pets or anything like that. Really, it's guidance. So we
Okay.
educate. So someone would contact me, connect with me if they like me, and then I would really guide them on this journey. And I've got lots of education programs that we could send to them and help them be able to get started on this journey. And for many people, they want to watch for a while and see how we work, and then they'll reach out and say, I've been looking at you for ages. I love the way you talk about oils. Can we connect? And that's really kind of like how we work. It's about education rather than kind of, hard sell.
Right. One of the things you and I talked about in the green room before we started the show was the fact that we both work with like pets, and we love working with like the rescues and that kind of stuff. And so for
Yeah.
people that want to have pets and they want to use oils with their pets, you also talk about that, right?
Yeah, I've got a couple of classes on that. We've done mainly cats and dogs. We haven't really gone into other animals, although there are a lot of people out there talking about horses and cattle and all sorts of things. But with dogs are easier to use oils on than cats. Cats, you have to be a little bit more wary of cats because the way they metabolize oils through their liver. So, for example, there are some oils that you wouldn't ever use with animals. But when you're using oils on animals, so for example, dogs, you've got to be aware that they have to be very heavily diluted. So we would dilute the oils like we would dilute them on a baby. And you wouldn't really put an oil like this on a dog because it's too strong. So you would
Okay.
make sure you do your research, look up your breed, look up the dilution, or speak to somebody like me. And then you would use the oil on your dog's spine. So
Mm,
it's not too strong, because if you put the oil to their face, although
yeah.
sometimes I put oil on my hand, if I put rose oil on, the most expensive one, my little Yorkshire Terrier, she loves it. She always licks it. Um, but with cats, we have to be a little bit more mindful. Like, you wouldn't leave a diffuser in the house, leave it on in a room with an animal in there so they can't get out. You always make sure you have ventilation. You have to be mindful of citrus oils, of tea tree oil, and you just have to do your research and always have a ventilated space, always allow the animal to be able to get out of the room. And just be mindful when you're using oils, in their environment, not putting them, like if you were going to use, say you had a stressed out dog, it was
Right.
firework night, 5th of July, that when the fireworks are going, and dogs hate that or they get really stressed. The way I would use an oil on a dog is I would put it right under their bed, one drop, right underneath the base of the bed that's on the floor, nowhere near where they sleep, but
Uh-huh.
just kind of under the bed, so that a little bit of oil would have an effect, or I would just massage it onto the spine. And that's the way that you use it. And the dog whisperer actually uses this, the brand that I work with, he uses their lavender oil with his dogs as well, because you have to be very careful when you're choosing your oils to make sure that you use oils that are pure and they haven't
Yes.
got not nasty things in. So you need to do your research on the brand that you're using,
Have
especially
you
on pets.
have you tried the lavender oil or whatever oil you want to use for the dogs to make them a little calmer during the
Yeah.
fireworks? And it does seem to work.
It does work, yeah. My two of my dogs don't really like lavender, and I think the reason for that was because what I did one time I was traveling with them, and I didn't really know too much about oils, but I'd heard at the time, it was years ago, and so I had them in their little cat carriers, and somebody said we use lavender. I'd been working with the oils maybe for 6 months, so I put lavender in the cat carrier, and the poor little things were just over lavendered. So
Yes.
because I'd put that much lavender in, they were like having a lovely sleep. But after then, if I even get out the lavender bottle, they show their teeth. So
Gotcha.
because I think I put too much, not realizing that that's not the way you use oils with animals. You have to just use a tiny amount on their back. But because I was flying, I was trying to keep them calm. So animals are very sensitive, like my dogs, and they all like different things as well. Like my little Yorkie, she loves rose. And then my other dog really likes the woody oils, like frankincense. They like those oils. And sometimes I test, I put them on, put my hand away from them and just see their reaction. And it's really interesting to see how they react. But sometimes lavender can be a bit strong for them.
Gotcha.
But yeah, but there are lots of like aromatherapists that are working specifically with animals, and the way they work is amazing. To introduce the bottle of oil to the animal and see their reaction, and yeah, it's amazing to use the oils with them. But they're very good to calm pets.
We're definitely going to have to come back and have you maybe even bring one of your dogs or cats with you and see how they like it. We're get a testimonial, okay? So for
Yeah,
people who want to get in touch with you, you're on Instagram, Yoga Love Oils.
yeah.
People can find you there. That is amazing. I love that. And I would love to have you back again and talk some more about this kind of stuff.
Oh,
So
thank you. It's been so nice. I could talk all night about oils and different ways of using oils.
we'll do some more of that. So
Thank
thank you very
you.
much, and we will see you again next time. I'm going to say
Thank
woof to the
you.
dogs. Okay. Bye bye.